The Sweetest Gem, written by the Rarity. Chapter 3, Isolation.
Come on, Twilight,
said Spike.
Why do we need to go for a stroll around the park this early in the afternoon? I'm still really tired. I barely slept a wink last night.
Exactly, Spike, replied Twilight.
I can tell that you're very stressed from all the work you've been doing lately, and it's affecting your sleep pattern. Maybe a nice stroll through the park is just the thing you need to help you relax a little bit.
After all work and no play makes Jack a dull colt. The young dragon simply huffed, kicking the dirt as he walked alongside Twilight down the stone path.
Yoo-hoo!
Rarity trotted up to Twilight and Spike, having been walking the other way down the path.
Oh, hi, Rarity,
said Twilight. What brings you out and about in the park?
Oh, I'm just on my way to the spa to help clear some tension off of my hooves, she replied. I always like to take the long way through the park because it also helps me relax a little. A self-cleansing walk, as it were. Anyway, I saw you two walking along, and I just had to stop by and take the opportunity to thank Spike again for being my assistant yesterday. Oh, it was no problem, Rarity, said Spike. You know I'll always be glad to help you in any way I can, whether it's digging up gems for you, or just simply being your supply fetcher guy. I know. You're such a good friend, Spike. If it weren't for your help, I probably wouldn't have finished that masterpiece of a dress for Miss Ruby yesterday, and I'd be toiling away with it still, instead of going to the spa today. I just can't thank you enough, my little Spiky Wikey. She leaned over and planted a kiss on Spike's left cheek. His entire body went rigid as a diamond. Well, I'd best be off then. Ta-ta! As she galloped away, Spike felt the kiss mark left behind on his cheek, his cheeks blooming red with amour. His muscles still felt tense. Is that a blush? Twilight slyly asked. Huh? I don't know. Maybe. Looks like a blush to me. She made a small retorting laugh. Still got that crush on her, huh? Now there's something about you that doesn't look like it'll go away soon. Yeah, I guess you're right, Twilight. Spike's eyes beamed. He had been feeling a lingering doubt in his mind, and he wasn't sure why. Now he started to walk faster, with his confidence brimming. But then, the shine left his eyes as he looked down in front of him. Sweetie Belle was walking past the park entrance, on her way to Fluttershy's cottage to seek help. Sweetie Belle? Something about the way Sweetie's mane bounced up and down as she walked caught Spike's attention. He continued staring at her until she was out of his sight. Once she left, Spike suddenly realized he had been subconsciously rubbing his cheek the whole time he was watching her. What? But... The cherry-red kiss mark that had adorned his cheek had faded into a more faint shade of red, and resting on his palm, it now looked like nothing more than a smear, a reflection. But before he could think about it any further, he suddenly burped up a scroll. Twilight recognized the seal immediately. A letter from Princess Celestia? Thanks for the tea, Fluttershy, said Sweetie Belle. This tastes just like the kind Rarity always makes. Thank you, Sweetie Belle, Fluttershy replied. You know, Rarity is the one who gave me the recipe for the tea in the first place. It always helps me calm down and relieve tension. Now, why don't you tell me all about what's made you so upset? I'm not upset, she replied through gritted teeth. Fluttershy knew better, though, and gave Sweetie a knowing smile. Well, okay. I guess I'm having just a little problem.
She looked down shyly for a moment.
Promise not to tell any pony, especially Rarity.
The pink-haired pony gently nodded.
I won't say a word to anyone, not even Rarity. Well, the thing is,
She squeezed her eyes shut.
I have a crush.
An awkward silence followed. Sweetie began to sweat. The look on Fluttershy's face seemed to say it all.
Fluttershy? Please don't be mad at me. I know it's really weird for a filly as young as me to like some pony. Oh, not at all,
Fluttershy hastily responded.
I'm sorry, sweetie. I just wasn't expecting that you were upset because of a crush. Why, I think that's terrific that you managed to find love already. You think so? Absolutely. I think finding true love is better the earlier that it happens. You're so lucky, sweetie. If it isn't too much trouble, would you like to tell me their name? This is the tricky part. Admitting I have a crush was one thing, but it's who I have a crush on that'll be even harder for her to believe. I mean, you don't have to, if you don't want to,
Said Fluttershy.
No, that's all right,
Replied Sweetie. She squeezed her eyes shut again and hesitated for a few seconds before finally.
It's Spike!
This time, she quickly covered her hooves over her face and tingled with the fear of rejection. After a few seconds, she peeked out to see that Fluttershy's face was not of shock or disgust, but was more inquisitive than anything.
Spike? I know. Being in love as a young filly, sure, but look at me! I'm a filly with a crush on a dragon. I'm nothing but a sick freak. Don't say that, Sweetie Belle,
Fluttershy suddenly shouted, a great tone of panic in her voice.
I mean, I don't think you're a freak, Sweetie Belle.
To prove her point, she flew over and gave Sweetie a passionate hug.
I think you're a very normal, innocent, and sweet pony. Really?
Sweetie's eyes glimmered with new hope.
But still, have you ever heard of a pony's special some pony being a dragon? I can't say I have.
Fluttershy answered.
But if you ask me, I don't think that matters at all. Your heart always knows the right place. And Spike's not like other dragons, all big and scary. No, he's a nice and charming guy. And so cute and clever, too. If you forget about the fact that he breathes fire, then he's basically like a pony. Wow!
Sweetie was beginning to cry now. This time it wasn't of sadness, but of joy.
I can't believe it. There really isn't anything wrong with me. These feelings I have for Spike, they're from my heart. That's right. Rarity always used to say that your heart always knows what's right, too. How could I have ever doubted it? Thank you, Fluttershy,
She said sincerely.
You have no idea how much this means to me. My pleasure,
She replied, seating herself again. However, she stopped smiling when she noticed Sweetie's own smile slowly fade into a frown.
There's still something else, though, isn't there? Something else you're unsure of? Yeah.
She quietly answered.
So, I have a crush on Spike, and it's completely normal. But what do I do now? Should I follow my heart and tell Spike how I feel about him? I don't even know if he likes me back, or if he likes ponies at all.
You're right. I guess that is a problem, said Fluttershy. If you don't mind, when did you first know you had a crush on Spike?
Well, that's a funny story, actually. Ever since I moved in with Rarity, I've gotten to spend more time with Apple Bloom and Scootaloo.
The Cutie Mark Crusaders were all over Ponyville, engaging in numerous random things, all in efforts to try to earn their cutie marks. But besides striving for this noble goal, they also did things just as friends, such as having a picnic together and going to Twilight's library to read books.
But I also got to see my other friends a lot more, like Pinkie Pie and Miss Cherylee, and Spike!
From behind Sweetie Belle, Spike was struggling to carry a stack of books, and he dropped one. Sweetie noticed, and she picked up the book for Spike, who looked very grateful for it. Later on, the two of them were seen reading that same book together.
For a while, we were really just friends. I didn't really think about Spike in any other way until that day.
One day, Sweetie Belle was walking alone in the park, singing a soft tune to herself in tranquility. Meanwhile, Spike was picking some flowers alongside the path and putting them in a basket, humming to himself. Sweetie Belle began watching a yellow monarch butterfly as she walked, so she didn't see where she was going before accidentally bumping into Spike. Oof! The bump led to Spike dropping the basket, all the flowers inside spreading onto the ground. She gasped and put her hoof to her muzzle when she saw what she did.
Oh my goodness! I'm so sorry, Spike!
That's okay, Sweetie Belle, said Spike.
Here, let me help you pick all those up.
She leaned down and started picking up the flowers with Spike, putting them all into the basket.
Whoa, thanks. You're a real friend, sweetie.
She blushed with modesty as Spike began counting all the flowers.
Huh? That's weird. What is it? Did I miss some of them? No, it's just...
He picked up one of the flowers.
There are 21 roses in here. Twilight only needed me to get 20 blue roses for Fluttershy's birthday. I must have picked up an extra one by mistake.
He thought for a minute, and then held it out to Sweetie with a smile.
Here, Sweetie, why don't you take it? Huh?
Sweetie replied, with a confused look on her face.
I only needed 20 of them, he explained. Just think of it as my gift to a friend, for helping me pick up the flowers.
She took the flower and held it in her hooves.
Gee, thanks, Spike. I don't know what to say.
Gazing at the flower, a soft smile started to spread on Sweetie's lips.
Hey, don't mention it. Now, I should get these roses back to the library so Twilight and I can wrap them. See you later, Sweetie Belle, said Spike, waving goodbye as he picked up the wagon and resumed walking. Yeah, bye,
said Sweetie Belle. She stared at the blue rose for a while, her eyes glistening. Little did she know, feelings were starting to churn inside of her. She felt an immense warmth through her body, looking at that flower. All the bones in her body tingling as she thought of Spike handing it to her.
It was one of the sweetest things anyone had ever given to me.
Wow, said Fluttershy.
I mean, that does sound romantic. I'm so happy for you, sweetie. Well, thanks. But...
Sweetie Belle looked down to the floor.
I still don't know where to go from here. Should I let Spike know that I have a crush on him? I'm just really scared that if I tell him, he won't like me back, and it'll ruin our friendship. I've seen other ponies find their special sun pony before, and it makes me really happy when they do. But I don't feel like I'm ready to find one myself. Fluttershy, what should I do?
Her eyes were starting to water.
I'm not really sure.
The timid mare began blushing a little.
I've never really had that special sun pony for myself.
Sweetie blinked in shock.
Wait, you've never? I would probably send him, some flowers though. Flowers? You mean like he gave me? Mm-hmm. You can get a nice big bouquet of flowers, the same kind Spike gave you, and then send them to Twilight and Spike's house anonymously. Or, well, I guess you could sign your name if you like. I wouldn't, though. I'd be way too scared to let some pony know how I really feel. Because what if they don't feel the same way? What if they're not into that sort of thing? What if. What if she doesn't want to be my friend anymore? Fluttershy,
Sweetie interjected.
I don't think sending Spike flowers sounds like the best idea. That seems too obvious. Well, I don't know if I can think of anything else. Maybe all he really needs is a nice big hug. That's it? Just a hug? Got anything better than that? I'm sorry,
Fluttershy replied.
I wish I could help more. I just don't really know that much about love. The only love I've ever had is love for all the little animals and creatures out there.
Sweetie Belle sighed heavily, resigned herself to the fact that she probably wasn't going to get any further answers, and proceeded to the door.
That's okay. Thanks anyway, Fluttershy. No problem, she responded. I was glad to help, even if I wasn't much of a help. Good luck, Sweetie Belle. Thanks for the tea.
She closed the door behind her with her tail.
Oh, Fluttershy, she scolded herself. You really need to stop rambling so much. After all, you can't even help yourself.
She sadly glanced at a particular photo on her wall, an aching feeling in her heart.